very excited to be here this morning for me, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. Very excited to talk about the new Masters of AI program that we launched, suppose 1 week ago, week and a half ago today. First and foremost, I'll introduce myself. My name is Patrick Donovan. I work in marketing with Udacity, and I am based in Oakland, California, in the Bay Area. And with me today, we have several experts to talk about all things masters in AI. First, we have Jared Moulton, who is the VP of Consumer at Udacity, and pretty much the brains behind making the Masters in AI a reality for Udacity students. Jared is based in Seattle, so also Pacific morning time for Jared.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, Jared. And then we have Dahlia Saif, who is a senior community manager at Udacity. Some of you maybe hopefully recognize Dahlia and have connected with her, as she spends a lot of time in the student and alumni communities day in and day out, and brings with her a lot of wisdom to share about our student experience within and beyond the master's program. Dahlia is based in Cairo, Egypt. Thank you for joining us, Dahlia.
Hello, Patrick. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Thank you.
And last but never least is Dr. Joshua Brogy, who is the founder and CEO of Wolf, which is the European accredited higher education institution through which this master's degree has been made possible. Joshua is based also in the Bay Area in Palo Alto. Welcome, Joshua. Thank you for joining us.
Many thanks. Glad to be here.
All righty. So I see some questions coming in. Just a note on the programming today. We have pre-selected a variety of questions that we saw come through the pre-registration form. Thank you all for submitting that. So we have a number of common questions already teed up that the team here will speak to. Please also submit your questions as we go, because once we get through that list, I will be on the lookout for any questions we didn't have, we may not have answered through the pre-selected set. So please continue to share your questions there, and you can bug me if we get towards the end and I've missed some. All right. First, I really want to set the stage behind where did this master's program come from? How did we arrive here? Jared, maybe you can start us off by taking a minute just to discuss the rationale behind the program, why this program for Udacity, why now? Go ahead.
Yeah, you bet. So I'll start by saying I think skill-based hiring is more important than ever. Data tells us that 64% of employers are using skill-based hiring when making a hiring decision. Udacity's core competency over the past decade plus has been building those skills. So we are really excited to be able to build these skills that then translate into better outcomes for our learners. That said, earlier this year, we ran a graduation survey and found that 28% of our graduates who reported experiencing a direct outcome after they finished their nanodegree program started a new academic program. And it was a real aha moment for us where we said, oh, that's interesting. We know that, we're teaching skills, and we know that our learners are going in and using those skills to get better jobs, to get promoted, to change jobs, et cetera. But it turns out that a lot of you are also using those skills to start a new academic program. How can we set you up for success if you decide to do that path? And so that got the gears turning. I had already been in touch with Joshua and the Wolf team. And so we re-engaged at that point and started talking about what it would take to bring a master's degree to life through Udacity so that we could be able to provide our learners with the academic credentials that they were already seeking. So really exciting opportunity for us. For me personally, I love, kind of starting from the customer and working backwards and using customer data to say, hey, there's a real, opportunity here for us to create a better experience. And that was the start of a journey that led us to last Wednesday.
Absolutely. An exciting journey it has definitely been for the team and a lot of students here. Joshua, I want to turn to you now. I'm curious to hear what makes this master's in AI both similar and unique to some of the other programs you've launched since founding Wolf.
Yeah, great question. We've got many different degree programs as a higher education institution from undergraduate through PhD, partnered with Harvard and in Oxford and many education providers. I think that this is a really exciting degree program. It's got a practical edge to it that's exciting. It's very application focused. You're going to build things as you go through it. Some of the folks like Oxford are very, very good at these durable, conceptual, strategic things, and less good on what the cutting edge is when it comes to vibe coding something or building something or actually needing to deploy something. And so I think this program's got a great balance of the hard skills that are going to be durable across time, as well as having very practical things that you can implement at work right away. So that's probably one of the most exciting things.
Yeah, really well put. Dalia, so you spend a lot of time with students in our community, sort of hearing their feedback and their thoughts day to day. What do you feel is the appeal of this program for students beyond what they already get from Udacity?
Yeah, actually, so what makes this program truly special is that it bridges the gap between like learning and long-term growth. So at Udacity, we already equip students with like the skills and the tool to succeed in both technically and business. But the Masters of AI takes this a step further. So it provides a comprehensive, hands-on and practical learning experience that prepare the student for the marketplace. It's not just theoretically, but it's the real tools and application that today's AI industry needs and demands. So yeah, what I find most exciting is how this program keeps learner at the forefront of the latest trend and advancement in AI. So it ensures that they stay relevant, adaptable, and confident in a rapidly evolving field. And of course, beyond like gaining advanced knowledge, students also become part of a global community of innovators and professionals. So it's transforming their learning into a real world impact and career growth. So, in this program, we offer a dedicated networking community. It's exclusive for the master's learner where they can connect with peers, exchange experiences. They also benefit from like the technical guidance provided by the Udacity mentors and experts who help them with their projects, any challenges they face along the way. And of course, all our community team is available to ensure that the learners have a seamless experience and assisting them with any issue, keeping them engaged. So I think this level of support and connection adds tremendous value to the learning experience, which empower the student to achieve their goals with confidence and a strong sense of community.
And we've been live now for, I keep forgetting, 9 days, possibly.
One week.
1 week.
Okay. Almost 1 week.
7 days.
All right, 5 days. Okay. There's where my math is at. Dalia, what have you seen early on in terms of the response from students in the community and the excitement from students who are some of the first to enroll?
Yeah, actually, it's been truly inspiring to see the energy and enthusiasm from the learners. So since the program launched and really from the first week, we have seen so many thoughtful comments, questions, and messages from the student who are genuinely proud to be part of something new and forward-looking. And many of them have shared how happy and how thrilled they are to join a program that it's not only enhance their technical expertise, but also strengthen their professional profiles and open new opportunities and new doors for their futures. And of course, what stands out most is that the learner, they are not just here to master the advanced AI concept, but they are here to connect. They want to collaborate with each other. They want to grow together as a global community. So actually, for example, one of the students, he perfectly said it, that he's glad to join this quite new program, and his expectation is to like benefit a lot, especially from the networking and the community building part with like the other students. So I think that sense of belonging, curiosity, and shared ambition truly reflects what this program is all about. So it's about empowering the learners to not only build like skills, but also meaningful relationship and confidence for the future of the field of AI. And I think that's exactly what we're all aiming for. So we want to create a global community and tech hub for all AI enthusiasts. So we want to play a place where like all the learners, experts, and practitioners, they come together to share experience, exchange ideas, and stay at the forefront of like every trend and innovation that shape the world of AI. And of course, we want this to be the go-to space for like continuous learning, collaboration, and growth. To be the place for like the AI meets purpose, and where all the learner can evolve into a confident leader in this field of AI.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Very pleased to hear about the early excitement we're seeing from students in the community. Seeing a ton of questions come in from folks. I'll reiterate, I'm clocking them. We will get to them in due course, and if we don't, you can re-raise it towards the end in the live Q&A. I want to go right to, I think the big element of having a master's in AI is there's accreditation behind it. Those aren't just words we are putting out there in the world. They are fully backed by a very rigorous process in evaluating our curriculum and ensuring it is mapped to an accredited programming. I'm mincing words a little bit here, but Joshua, you are the expert on it coming from Wolf. If we can maybe just start there. First of all, can you tell the audience a little bit more about Wolf and what it means for this program to be accredited?
Sure. So Wolf is a collegiate higher education institution, a little bit like University of London or Oxford University, or if you're in India, Delhi University, maybe University of California. Those are all institutions that are composed of colleges. And so the colleges have some level of autonomy to admit students and launch degrees. And so Udacity has launched a college effectively and is launching the degree through that. And so that's quite exciting. There's a lot of academic freedom in the colleges, but all of them have to meet the exact same rigorous academic standards. And so the job of the central administration of the higher education institution is to ensure that all those standards are met and that they map onto the licensing requirements set by government regulators. We interact with a lot of government regulators in many countries. But to be accredited generally means that you have the imprimatur of some government regulator, which is then cross-listed into many other countries. The rules are shifting a lot, but Wolf is recognized in the 60 countries that we operate in typically. And so whether it's for points on your visa to go to Canada, or for immigration and citizenship, or for the US federal government to recognize it for an H-1B visa exemption, or for local school councils in the United States, for teachers who are getting master's degrees and they're in a public school system and so they get a salary increase, or if you're in the United Kingdom and you're immigrating, you need NIC/NARIC to recognize it. Those are all kind of typical bodies for us that recognize the degree from a mobility perspective. But accreditation at the end of the day is an international system of recognition based on rules and treaties and databases. And so we have to play by those rules, and we have to have very strong auditing. We get audited very regularly as an institution. We also run through processes both internally and externally of peer review, all of which have to meet typical academic standards. So at the end of the day, you're earning a master's degree from a European higher education institution. It's not different than earning it from another university. And you'd expect the same kinds of recognitions from any other university.
Great. Very clear to me, at least, but if folks have additional questions on the accreditation status of the program, please keep them coming. I want to talk a little bit about the structure of the program. For whom is it appropriate to enroll from a prerequisite standpoint? Once enrolled, there's a lot of nano degree programs that Udacity's created over the years that are seemingly involved in the Masters of AI. I want to just sort of unpack that for folks in attendance today. Jared, maybe let's start with you. Can you just sort of give us the broad strokes? How does this program work from a, let's call it a learning journey point of view?
Yeah, so upon enrollment, a student has to complete 2,250 credit hours in order to earn the degree. That equates to 90 ECTS credits. And so the way that the program is structured is we have 7 nano degree programs in the core curriculum. Some of our most popular AI nano degree programs, including AI programming for Python, which is a beginner level course. So if you have little to no experience in AI development, there's still a path for you to get started with this. Certainly having some type of coding foundation, whether it's Python or SQL, will help set you up for success, or any other language. Didn't mean to exclude all of the other great languages out there. But once you get started, we have the core curriculum nailed down for those 7 nano degree programs. From there, there's another 750 credit hours that a student can take through a series of electives. And the electives cover the gamut almost of the entire Udacity nano degree catalog. And so you may have somebody who's more interested in business or marketing. They can take product manager or AI product manager or digital marketing. Those are 3 different nano degree programs that will count towards credit for the elective portion. If they're more interested in the technical side and going deeper, you could take things like self-driving car, or any of our robotics, even, any of our other nano degree programs that kind of fall in that range. It's really up to you as a student, what path you want to take once you finish the core curriculum. There's also a capstone project that is required for every student at the end to show, their competency, in this space. One thing I do want to call out, obviously, if you've completed any of these courses before, that counts as credit towards the master's degree program. So that's great. There is a remediation exercise that you will have to do in which, as part of making sure that we are compliant with the Wolf standards, there are peer-reviewed literature readings that you will have to do and an assessment on that reading to make sure, but you will not have to redo the nano degree program. So there is an additional assessment for some of these courses that is required once you enroll. But all of the work you've done for the nano degree program, all of the work you've done for the projects on that program are all counted towards the degree already.
And because you brought it up, I think this is, we call this recognition of prior learning. Can we maybe just talk through almost as mechanically and transparently as we can? I think there's a bunch of questions in the chat about I've taken X, Y, Z. How do I know credit hours wise, how that maps to this master's before I commit to an enrollment? Jared or Joshua, maybe can you speak to what that process is like?
Yeah, I can start and then I'll pass to Joshua if there's anything that I missed. And he's got a lot more specifics on kind of how this process operates beyond Udacity. But at Udacity, if you have already taken courses and nano degrees and you want to know how many credits you've earned very specifically, you can decide to opt in to sharing your data with Wolf if you haven't already done that. It is in the settings of your Udacity account. Upon completing that action, it takes about 5 business days for us to audit your previous learning history and provide a specific number of credits that are tied to your account that count towards the degree. So once you enable that, if you get in touch with our support team after 5 days, 5 business days, we'll be able to tell you exactly how many credits you have already earned towards that degree. There are also avenues to take learning that you've done outside of Udacity and apply that. And I'll let Joshua speak to that.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. Everything that you've done previously at Udacity can be mapped to the degree and counts as progress in it. And then there are two other kinds of recognition of prior learning. One is RPL, recognition of prior learning for admissions. So if you didn't do a bachelor's degree, you could have your life experience kind of fulfill the difference of not having done the bachelor's degree, and then you can be admitted into the master's degree. There are other admissions pathways as well, performance-based admission, if you don't have that life experience. But then there's RPL for credit, which is if you've been a software engineer for a decade, you probably don't need to do some of the introductory courses. And so providing evidence of what you have done can then be mapped onto the licensing requirements for the degree. We have a team of people that do that. And the intended learning outcomes of your workplace experiences can then knock out the introductory courses effectively in the master's degree. And so we've got some regulatory constraints and limits on how we do that. And we're licensed to take out up to half the degree for really senior people that have done stuff. And so that's a pretty exciting and dynamic result, that if you've got a lot of serious software engineering experience or you're working in artificial intelligence, then there are meaningful portions of the degree that can be effectively comped. And so you end up getting exemptions for those courses, which is really exciting. In some cases, you can be asked to take a remediation exam for some of them in order to manage the credits in specific ways. And so there are some fine details there. But in general, if you've got quite a bit of life experience, you can expect that to map onto the degree. I think that the Udacity team will have a way to reach out to you about that potentially, but you can also write to registrar@wolf.university, and they'll request a portfolio of information demonstrating your life experience.
Very good. Thank you. Seeing a handful of questions about time to complete and cost. Jared, maybe if you can just talk us through broad strokes, the thinking about, I mean, I know that there's a ton of flexibility in the program. And so it's a little bit of choose your own adventure, but if you can just talk through structurally how some of the different pathways or timelines people can take and associated costs, I think that would help give people a concrete sense.
Yeah, I'll start by saying I think one of the things that excites me most about this master's degree program is the accessibility of it. It is included with the Udacity subscription. So there's no commitment to finish all of the payments, to get everything done that way. All you need is a Udacity subscription to get started. And there is a one-time enrollment fee of $199, which essentially is all of the processing that we have to do to build this academic record. But that's all you need to get started. And so if you compare that to the average cost of other masters in AI degrees, I think they're around $40,000 to $45,000. I think like the entry point is just out of control accessible. And then if you were to finish the degree, we've estimated it'll take between 18 to 24 months to finish the entire degree program. And that's based on feedback from Joshua and his team on what they see from their other colleges. So at 18 months or even 19 months, you would spend less than $5,000 on this entire program, which is, I think, 8x less than that 40,000 average for other comparable programs. And so, frankly, the differentiator there is just the accessibility. This is something you can jump right into, very low barrier to entry. You can pause it at any time and come back to it. If you pause it, you won't be charged, obviously, while you're in a pause state. We will maintain the record. Once you enroll, the transcript is yours. So all of the credits that you've earned for previous courses, everything that you earn after enrolling, that is your transcript, and you will have access to that through Wolf, for as long as you need to, for the most part. I think it's like a 40-year, Joshua can jump in and correct me, but I think that it's a 40-year time. And so I think that it's a really exciting program that kind of outlines the cost and the amount of time we expect it to take. I do want to call out too that, there are sometimes instances when Udacity is available at a promotion. And so if you get in at a promotion, the degree becomes even more affordable. And that's just on the subscription part of it. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about how accessible this program is for learners around the world. And it goes back to the mission that Udacity was founded on, which is democratizing education. As we were evaluating this opportunity, the thing that I kept coming back to is how do we just make this available as part of the subscription? Like this shouldn't be some big addition on top of that. And we were able to make it work. So really, really excited to have that offering for all of you.
Very helpful. Thank you. So just to reiterate in short, for those wondering how long it takes, a little bit up to you. If you are working part-time after work on weekends in between the rest of your busy life, it can take you 2, 3, 4 years if that's how you want to do it. If you want to do full-time master's student, 40, 50 hours a week and grind it out, you can probably finish in well under a year. It all comes down to how the program fits with your life and your goals, and that's the beauty of it. I want to move on a little bit to just speak to the learning experience. For those intimately familiar with the Udacity learning experience, not a ton changes. It is the core Udacity project-based learning experience with the accreditation on top of it. But not everyone may be as familiar or might need a refresher on what is it like to learn with Udacity. Dalia, I'd like to just hear from you a little bit on, can you speak to just some of the bullet points of what to expect for people who maybe aren't as experienced with online learning or Udacity learning? What are some of the key pillars of that student experience?
Yeah, so of course, the community as well, they have access to the community with the support of the mentors. So this is something extra that they will get access to during this master degree. They will have the weekly office hours for all the NANA degree with our experts and mentors. They will have access to different spaces where they can engage, networking with their peers, share experience, and of course with our interventions and challenges during the lifetime of the program. So and this is of course in addition to everything we have already at Udacity, but this is the extra access that they can have.
Yeah, great. And to speak briefly to the everything else we have at Udacity and the sort of core learner experience, I'll cheat a little bit. I know I'm supposed to host, but I have some background here, and I think as a part of the learning journey, you participate in a bunch of different nano degrees, basically, to graduate from the master's in AI. And participating in a nano degree means you progress through a course through a series of video lectures, text, quizzes, and then ultimately projects where you're getting feedback from experienced project reviewers. And along the way, you're supported with a sort of Q&A environment. Think of it like a Stack Overflow or a Quora Q&A type interface, where we have experienced mentors in there as well, providing feedback and unblocking you along the way. So that core Udacity student experience and that really project-centric focus doesn't change with the master's. If anything, it is heightened. I want to talk now a little bit about admission requirements. Can anyone enroll in the master's degree? Are there suggestions we have for the prerequisites someone should begin with? Jared, maybe let's start with you there.
Yeah, anyone can enroll. So while we recommend a bachelor, as Joshua mentioned, similar life experience is also acceptable. And if you don't have that similar life experience, there's a pathway called performance-based admissions. And so when you're going through the application process or the enrollment process and onboarding, you'll get to a part of the flow where you have to submit your transcript from your bachelor, and there's an option there to say, hey, I don't have this, let me go another route. And so there's really no way to block you from enrolling, which is awesome, honestly. And as far as prerequisites are concerned, I think it kind of covers a little bit of what I chatted about earlier. Some basic understanding of math and statistics is recommended. Some experience in some type of coding language is recommended, but not required. You can learn that through AI programming with Python. By the way, because a subscription is required to get started, You can take like introduction to Python or introduction to programming as well, as an elective and get started with the master's degree, learning the stuff that you think you need to be even more successful with some of the AI courses later. And so that's all part of the program here. I think the only other hard requirement is proficiency in English, as our courses and projects are reviewed and graded in English.
Joshua, there's also the performance-based admission side of things. You maybe just want to speak to what that is and briefly how it works.
Yep. So performance-based admission basically says if you can actually do the degree, then the fact that you don't meet the normal admission standards is not a barrier. And so taking a step back, the normal entrance, like Jared said, is you have a bachelor's degree and then you're admitted on the basis of that. It doesn't have to be a bachelor's degree in computer science. It just needs to be a bachelor's degree. Preferable to have some kind of technical background, even if it's finance or civil engineering or something like that. And an alternative as well is you could do recognition of prior learning. That takes a little bit more time because a team of people with PhDs will actually build a portfolio for you. But basically you say, look, I was a software engineer for 10 years or 20 years. I don't have a bachelor's degree, but I have these experiences, and you can be admitted on that basis. And the last one is performance-based admission, which just says no questions asked. You can be admitted today. You have a kind of conditional enrollment where you have to maintain your standing in the program. And so that says you have to keep a grade point average of 80%, and you have to complete at least 20% of the program before you are fully admitted. So you're enrolled in all the courses, you're enrolled in the overall institution, and then you have this kind of conditional enrollment letter. That letter is usually adequate, for example, for employers and other funding bodies and so on. But you have this kind of conditional position until you hit that milestone of 20% of the way through the program. And the goal there is just to show, can you really do it? And so what the regulatory bodies say is, well, if you can actually do it, then the fact that you don't meet the standard admission pathways means that performance-based admission is fine.
And then going from prerequisites all the way to what happens after you graduate with a master's in AI, I want to speak a little bit to the broader career landscape into which this program fits. There's a few questions I see coming through the chat of, what jobs might this lead to and what is the value of this credential in the broader job market. Jared, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of pieces I want to cover on this. So one, as part of the Udacity subscription, you have access to our career services. And so like any other college or university out there, we have a whole team of dedicated professionals whose job it is to help you find a job if that's what you want to do after graduation. And so we have a resume review process. We have a cover letter review process. We have LinkedIn profile review process. We have GitHub portfolio review process. We also have partnered with a company called Exponent to provide mock interviews to our learners for as long as they're a subscriber. And so with those mock interviews, you're interviewing with people who work at FANG companies. And so you can also pick and choose kind of, hey, I want more of a case style. I want more of a quant style. I want more behavioral style as part of the mock interview platform. So there's lots of pathways post-graduation to take advantage of Udacity's career services to help you find a job. I will also say that generally speaking, while skill-based hiring is growing, having a additional degree helps. While I can certainly speak from personal experience, when I got my master's, it was not in AI, it was in business. It was an unlock for my career. It unlocked jobs that I couldn't have done before and wouldn't have qualified for before. When it comes to the hard data, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that there's a 19% increase in salary between a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in the United States. And so the income increase is real. I think the ability to now expand your job hunt to jobs that require a master's is real. And that's something that we're really excited to offer this. It's an important checkbox. It unlocks career growth and personal growth. I would say the final piece of this is what are the jobs that are available? Folks, this is the future. We're seeing AI become more and more prevalent, and AI skills required across jobs ranging from marketing to engineering to systems design to QA. And so I think that getting the skills across the foundations of AI can only pay dividends for any job that you're interested in the future. So long as it's kind of within the tech landscape, I would say. I'm sure there are jobs out there. For a contractor, you may not need these skills as much, for example, like a house contractor. But for some of these other jobs out there, I don't think there is a place where these skills are no longer going to be relevant. I think they're going to be relevant for almost every job function.
And I would add to that, there's a theme here with this master's program is that it's a little bit of a choose your own adventure in terms of how often you want to learn because it's entirely asynchronous, because of the number of electives involved. You can sort of choose how you may or may not want to specialize. I see some questions of our financial services or fintech covered. We have courses in AI for trading, for example, or AI trading strategies. So as you evaluate the master's program, at the same time, you are evaluating the Udacity catalog and understanding based on where you want to take your career. Do you want to focus more on data science and data engineering? Do you want to focus more on software engineering and AI in that context? You want to map your journey in the master's program to your broader view of the direction you want to take your career. And the way to do that is to leverage the combination of the core required nano-degree programs for the master's with the breadth of the electives offered by Udacity.
I'll add to that as well. We have more nano degrees coming out all the time. So for example, this past week, we launched Agentic AI Engineer with LangChain and LangGraph. So a more specific Agentic AI nano degree program. And we're already working with Joshua and his team to bring that in as an elective. And so every single nano degree that we build, we will go through the process of bringing in. And so over the next 4 months, even as you get started on the core curriculum, I expect the electives to expand even more.
All right. I think that covers a lot of the questions I had captured from the pre-registration form to walk through, as well as some of the questions that have been coming in. Hopefully that helps folks who have joined. Hopefully that helps answer a lot of your questions, but we have more time and a ton of questions continue to come in. So we will segue into more of a live Q&A portion, which I'll continue to moderate to the best of my ability. I've been tracking the questions that have been coming in over time, so I'm not just going to wing it and take the most recent questions, but please keep pumping your questions through. I will keep looking and keep doing my best to triage the most common and popular questions to our group here. One thing I've seen a couple times is we're talking about the Masters in AI. That is the star of the show currently. Is there any roadmap or view towards additional master's programs in the future? Jared?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with Wolf and team, it unlocks that for us. So those are conversations that we're having. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You heard it here first. Discounts and scholarships. You spoke to it a little, Jared, but what might be available for someone who, for whom the sticker price for the Udacity subscription is out of reach?
We have an evergreen personalized discount program. So if you are on udacity.com right now and you are not currently subscribed, you may see it in the banner of the website. And you can apply for that personalized discount, and based on your income level and your employment status, it will generate a discount for the subscription. That discount is every month. And so, for example, if you were to get 10% off, our subscription starts at $249 a month. That would take $25 off every single month moving forward. And so, I'd encourage you to take a look there. If you're not already, on our email list and following along, we also offer promotions, throughout the year at various times.
Joshua, there's a few questions coming in about credit transfer from other institutions, people who already have masters elsewhere. Congratulations to you all. People who just took a few classes at a university and are trying to understand how they transfer. What does that look like?
It's a really common question. In some of the advanced master's degrees, we have sometimes 20, 30% of students already have master's degrees. So it's not that unusual for folks. I'm not on the academic compliance team, and so they will review your transcript if you're coming in with a master's degree. But the broad principle is you can't double count credits. And so if you got a full master's degree and you did the exact number of credits to get that master's degree, they're unlikely to double count them towards this net new master's degree. If you had overage where you got extra credits that weren't applied, or you have a transcript that didn't actually roll up to a master's degree, then those credits can be transferred in if they match the courses and the overall program aims. If they're in, English literature or something, they're probably not going to do much for you. So that is the kind of working principle. In general, the team is looking for mapping between what did you do at your prior institution and what's in this degree. And did you already use those credits towards a degree certificate that you're carrying around? Because we can't produce, multiple certificates based on the same learning.
And I think similar-ish vein, well, just I suppose on the global renown of Wolf. How there's a question that came in just around like how well known is Wolf globally, and how much will employers know and recognize either Wolf or Udacity or this degree? Joshua, maybe if you can start there and how you've seen employers and other institutions recognize degrees from students. And Jared, maybe you have something to add.
Well, there are 30 or 40,000 universities in the world, and most employers are not good trackers of those institutions. The most popular product at Wolf when somebody enrolls in a degree is they download their letter of enrollment, they take it to HR, and often they get some kind of support for the program that they're doing. And so that is a pretty typical pathway when you're in a program and you're employed. In terms of being recognized by like a large employer that has a million applicants in their applicant tracking system, JP Morgan Chase with their ATS and 1 million people. It's just a real master's degree. It's not like you're explaining why it's a mastering AI bootcamp. It's not a mastering AI bootcamp. It's a master's degree in AI. And so you expect full recognition for that. If there's ever a question, like if you get a degree in the state of California and you want it to be recognized in the state of Florida, sometimes there will be what's called an Education Credential Assessment, ECA. And the US government recognizes a body called the National Association of Credential Evaluation Services, NACES. There are like 15 members of NACES. We work with a bunch of those. And if you are moving between countries or moving between parts of the United States or moving between universities, occasionally, not all the time, but occasionally they will ask for an ECA. And so we have a bulk upload process with these ECA providers. Sometimes they charge a fee for them to produce this authorized statement, and the statement will say, yes, you really did receive a master's degree. Yes, it's equivalent to a master's degree in the target country where you're showing it. And that usually solves all the problems.
Great. Thank you. One question I recall seeing earlier is, what advice do you have for learners that are looking for help deciding between this Udacity online masters and other online or in-person degree programs? I'll open that to the panel. I think that's a meaty question.
I can take a first stab at it. So I'd say, one, certainly do your homework. Make sure that you know what your learning goals are and that you choose a program that aligns to those learning goals. If that means like, hey, you're somebody that needs to be somewhere in person for this learning and with real people around you, this may not be the right program for you. Whereas if you're someone who's like, hey, I want to do this on my time, this is probably something that you should seriously consider. And then I'd also, not to plug it, but like, I think I think that it's really low risk to get started with us because it's just the Udacity subscription and that $199 fee. And so you're not making this long-term financial or time commitment to finish it. Certainly, we hope that if you get started, you're motivated to earn the degree. Like, we want to help you earn the degree. We're set up to help you earn the degree. But we also want to make sure that, you understand that we're here as your partner to help you figure out how to earn this degree on your terms and the amount of time that it takes. And so I think that the risk of getting started with us is fairly low. And then if you find, hey, I don't want to do it this way, I want to do it another way, after a month, you've spent very little on getting started. And the credits that you've already earned are yours now, and you can take them with you if you go somewhere else.
Yeah, well said. Dalia, maybe a sort of operational question for you. I'm seeing a few chats since we started about cohorts. So can you just clarify for folks, is there a timeline for when you start? Is there a specific cohort you are enrolled in, or can you start whenever?
Yeah, actually, so one of the most important thing in this master degree is it's a self-paced. So you don't have like a cohort to subscribe or to be enrolled in, and you have to finish everything in like a limited time. So as Jared and Josh mentioned, so you can post, you can have it upon your your own schedule. So I think this is one of the main benefits of this master degree. And of course, this is, as we mentioned, in addition to the videos available that you can take on your own pace, the support that you can have. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would echo that. Asynchronous self-paced learning does not necessarily mean you also don't have a community or support along the way. You can come and go at your leisure, but when you are involved in the program, the community and your network of peers and Udacity mentors are there to support you. So sometimes I think if people feel like there's no cohort, then I'm just totally on my own. And we do a lot to make sure that that is not the case. All right. Let's see. Other questions that we have here. Is the program beginner friendly? Yeah, is it beginner friendly? I don't know. Jared?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I think earlier, one of the core curriculum courses is AI programming with Python, which we believe is a beginner course, and it is labeled a beginner course in our catalog. And it's kind of the way that we think about the introduction to AI programming is through that course. And so, yes, it is beginner friendly. You can get started with that course. If you run into any issues with that course and you don't understand things, you're a Udacity subscriber, you can take another introduction course instead, which will count as an elective towards the degree. So like introduction to programming or introduction to Python are both examples that. So I would say that it absolutely is something that a beginner in this space can get started with. Yeah.
And then there's a few questions that have come in around, let's call it grading. I think a lot of people are used to traditional educational institutions where do you have a GPA? Am I an A student, a B student? How does that work in the Udacity program and in the master's? How do you progress and ensure that you are performing as expected in the program and on pace to receive the Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence? Jared, Joshua, I don't know who's better suited to answer that, but I'll defer.
Yeah, I can jump in and answer this one as well. So you'll be graded based on the projects that you submit. And then you also have to complete the required reading and assessments.
Yep, you'll have an international transcript with a Europass supplement, and the transcript will be recognized by governments and universities around the world. So you'll have a GPA, cumulative GPA, and generally it's read on an American grading scale from 0 to 100.
Thank you. And I'm going to revisit projects because there's been a few questions about the capstone. One thing I'll just note is every Udacity nanodegree program is effectively built around projects. That's what we're about. So when you're enrolled in an individual nanodegree program as a part of the master's or not, you progress through your course of learning, and then there is a project, usually typically very hands-on and based on a real-world job or professional scenario. You submit your project, there's a rubric, there's a human grader assessing your project, and then you need to pass a series of projects to graduate from the nano degree. So the whole adventure of the Masters in AI is completing a series of those nano degrees and passing a lot of different projects that will become your portfolio over time. And then additionally, there is a capstone project that you will take to graduate from the master's. There's been a couple questions of like, how does that compare to a thesis, like as if you were in a PhD? Jared, I'm going to punt to you if there's anything more you can say about the capstone.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying it's not going to be a PhD thesis. I think that takes oftentimes, multiple years to finish, and often many cycles of going through the rounds. The way that the capstone will work is it's essentially going to assess your understanding of the space through a much bigger project than kind of the projects that are throughout the nano degree program. And so that you will receive the capstone once you have finished all of the electives and the core curriculum, and then you'll have the remaining work to do to earn the degree, which is essentially completing that project and submitting it.
All right. Thank you, Jared. I am just
on the theme of big theses and so on. I've seen a bunch of questions come through about, does this prepare me for a PhD program? And the short answer is yes. Most PhD programs require you to have a master's degree. If you do this master's degree, are you eligible to get into a PhD program? And the answer is yes. However, you should know with PhD programs, unlike master's degree and undergraduate degrees, you don't typically just apply to a university and get into a PhD program. That is not the normal pathway. The normal pathway is you reach out to a potential supervisor, and they are going to have preferences about the kind of thing that you worked on in your capstone and where you focused your electives in the program. And so you are fully eligible to enroll in a PhD program. However, being eligible doesn't guarantee your admissions. You should reach out to your prospective supervisor as early as possible.
Thanks, Joshua. All right. We're coming close to the top of the hour here. So I want to take a minute to possibly revisit some of the common questions we have and try to put a fine point on them, as well as start to point folks to additional resources where they can explore the program and get some of their questions answered beyond the forum we've provided today. So I'm going to ask the team to repeat a few things in as pointed a fashion as possible, just for the benefit of having it stated clearly for the record. So Jared, what does it cost?
You can get started with the master's degree with a Udacity subscription plus a one-time $199 fee. So that's $249 a month plus a one-time $199 fee. If you complete the master's in 18 to 20 months, it will cost you less than $5,000.
Thanks, Jared. Joshua, a lot of questions around, is the degree recognized in blank? Can you just reiterate your response there?
Yep. So it's a degree granting institution, fully accredited and recognized around the world. It will not be different than if you studied at some other European institution. And if you are going to a specific country, sometimes they'll ask for an education credential assessment, either through the government immigration agency, if you are immigrating, getting points on your visa. Wolf is recognized as a university in Canada, recognized as equivalent to regionally accredited in the United States, recognized by the United Kingdom for NAC and all these different programs. And we've got students in many, many countries around the world. And so generally we interact with a lot of government bodies.
If someone, a prospective or existing student, has further questions about their unique case in terms of transferability of past credits or applicability or recognition of the future degree, what is the best place for them to get answers?
So help.wolf.university has a lot of information to answer your questions, and it's got a email and chat support there. You can also email registrar@Wolf University, wolf.university, and the registrar's office can take care of things like recognition of prior learning and any kind of admissions queries that you might have.
And Jared, similar question for students who want to better understand pricing, conversion of prior Udacity learning, what nanodegree programs are required and what the electives are. What is the best place for them to learn?
You can always reach out to us at support@udacity.com. And then Dahlia and team on the community are very active and attentive at replying to questions that come up there. So if you're already engaged there, drop a line. And if they don't have an answer, they'll get an answer for you.
Great. Thank you. All right. Well, the last two questions that I will answer myself. Will this be recorded? Yes, this has been recorded and it will be distributed far and wide. So if you missed something, definitely take a look at the recording. Also, please keep an eye out for future similar open houses. We hope to do this again. And so subscribe to Udacity emails, etc. Follow our socials and you'll be able to see when we next do this. And then another question I saw come through is, when can you start? Now. Today, yesterday. Enrollment is rolling. You can go to udacity.com/masters-artificial-intelligence. It's also linked from our homepage. Jared made a great point earlier. Very low barrier to entry here. There's an enrollment fee and a Udacity subscription, and otherwise you can begin your journey in a master's of AI. We're very excited about it. We have seen a lot of students enroll and echo that excitement. And we are looking forward to continuing on this journey with this group of students and hopefully many more. So Joshua, Dahlia, Jared, thank you very much for providing your time and thoughtful responses today. Students, Udacity, past and present and future, thank you very much for joining and posing your questions. And look forward to seeing you in the classroom. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks.